We got a PV random. What do I do?
I mean, just pretend that it's a Terran or a Protoss.
Okay.
To wall off your main, I guess. And
Okay.
if you see an Overlord, then you know it's Zerg. Otherwise, get into its base, and if you see creep, then your second probe good.
Okay.
Construct additional pylons.
Oh wait, you are gonna build a forge. You're gonna build a forge.
We don't have enough steel.
Would that have been bad to do in a PvT? Having that probe build a forge?
It's not ideal.
Okay.
For you, it's probably fine. For me, it would matter. For you,
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay. It's a purpose.
Because the only thing it means is that your second probe will arrive after your first pylon is finished, and that slows down your cannon a bunch if you have to go below ground. But it doesn't matter.
No, mineral walk! Can he do it? Move in. Build it. Yes, we're in. We're in, boys.
Nice. Dicey one there.
Yeah. I clicked on the gas. I didn't realize you can't mineral walk into a gas if there's no simulator. That's...
Yeah, it has to be a friendly simulator as well. It can't be an enemy. Alright, so your cannon's actually in a lot of trouble right now.
Yeah.
Build a bunch of cannon somewhere. Building them in the low ground can be good as well. Because you can actually wall down the low ground, you can't wall down the high ground. You let your first probe live, so you can send that to the low ground if you want.
Yeah. I meant to cancel that one.
Wow, he's actually just not killing the cannons. Wow, Platinum Lake is an incredible place. Wow. So is this like what your games last night looked like?
Yep. I even cannon rushed a Zerg's main and had it work.
Incredible.
So when I say like, oh no, don't lose it, don't lose it. Let it live, let it live, let it live. Okay, everything's chasing just this one probe. I think we're fine with this. I think we're fine with this. We're gonna just go the long way back into the main. This one is going to build. Actually, we probably have enough cannons here, right?
Yeah. His main is dead. You should actually cancel one of those at least one. Maybe.
Hey, we did it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that was marvelous.
Taldan's saying transition time, but let's just have a
that was transition.
Yeah. So what would that have been? What would the transition have been to?
So I mean, 3-gate robo is a good default.
Okay.
Specifically in this case, I would have wanted you to finish the wall at your main and get a cannon in case all those probes and zealots went across the map to kill you.
Okay.
Because that would force a draw or a win for him if he had 400 minutes. So walling off and getting a cannon would be like the first priority there.
Okay.
After that, just get your tech and gases going, and you can figure out what you're doing specifically later.
Okay.
But a 3-gate robo is pretty much never bad.
Okay.
Because 3-gate robo doesn't straight up lose anything. It has detection in case he goes CTs. Robo Immortals are just really good units, right? So if he goes blank, you have Immortals against Blink Stalkers. So that's great for you. If he's going Stargate, at the very least, you have 3 gateways to build a lot of Stalkers. There's nothing it instantly loses to. It's a very good all-around build.
Okay, cool. Makes sense. I feel like we're learning. I feel like already some improvement. There's definitely some stuff that I'm still like pretty ashamed of, but it's progress, right?
Yeah, that game was decent. You managed to get the wall up despite him building a whole bunch of probes. The wall then died, and you opted to build a couple of cannons in the middle of nowhere instead of building a cannon on the low ground, but he didn't care, so it was fine.
So what I should have done was just done it on the low ground instead of what I did?
Yeah,
okay.
So your second probe could have just built a cannon on the low ground and then walled it in with a couple pylons. We did this actually in a different game. I don't remember if that was... I think that was a PvT, actually. Maybe. The game where you like completely botched the wall. It was on that map. It's in
Okay.
the same spot, I think, even.
Okay.
So if you just and this is something that I specifically didn't tell you about to keep this simple for you, but yeah, if he pulls a whole bunch of workers, he can break that high ground. And all of my walls are deliberately designed so that you can do a low ground backup. I don't know if the walls
Okay.
I gave you all are, but the ones I use are.
Okay.
So if he pulls all his workers, he can kill your high ground wall, and you have to build a low ground cannon wall that in.
Okay.
And then he loses like a whole bunch of money pulling up the high. If he sends a probe to block the low ground, that's when you have to improvise, and that's when you will probably just lose. And I do a whole bunch of fancy micro to try and win.
Okay. So one more question on. We're getting pretty far into hypothetical land, but I feel like this is a piece I need to know. So let's say the high ground doesn't work or gets killed or whatever, and I do the backup low ground pylon with the wall in. I have to do something to get high ground vision, right?
Yes.
So what does that look like?
Okay, so if you have a pylon of the high ground that's finished, and I mentioned this in one of my videos, you can build a gateway for vision.
Oh yeah, you do mention that.
If you don't have a pylon, you obviously can't do that. If you have a probe in the high ground still, and he like, okay, so basically there's two situations: either he finishes a wall to keep you out, or he doesn't. If he does, and you have a probe still in the high ground, all of your attention and focus goes into keeping that probe alive.
Okay.
If you can build a pylon as well with it and keep it alive, that's ideal, because then at the very least the pylon will give you some vision. But you need to keep that probe alive, and when your cannon finishes, it can protect the probe, and then that probe can continue the cannon rush in the high ground.
Okay.
If you waltz off and you don't have a probe in the high ground, then you just need to go hard into the transition, get 2 gases, get your gates, prepare for building a Stargate on the low ground.
Okay.
And then you get some cannons up to like destroy his wall, but you're also going to need cannons further back because stalkers will be able to kill your probes that are spotting for vision.
Okay.
If he has not walled off, then a probe can just give you vision, and there's nothing he can really do about that. Because the cannon will cover the probe. And
what if there's a stalker? Like, can't my probe get shot if I'm...
Right. So the probe can get you vision, and then it can build a pylon, and it can build cannons and stuff.
Okay.
There, I guess this can be split into 2 other categories of the timing of it all, as to how far away the stalker is when the cannon. You can you want to build a pylon on the high ground before the cannon finishes, ideally. At the very least, it forces his probes to continue to be off the line, and you can just cancel for 25 minerals.
Yeah.
If he doesn't pull all those probes, then you can start the cannon on the high ground as soon as the cannon on the low ground finishes. If he really commits and pulls a whole bunch of probes off the line with a zealot and just guards the ramp to stop your probe from getting up or doing anything, then you can again just go hard into the transition, and he's losing a lot of mining time, and he'll be behind.
Okay. Okay. So it's sort of like you're leveraging almost anything they do to make it be bad for them.
That's the ideal. Yes.
Okay.